So here we are, the end of 2 full months focused on what I believe is the most powerful ingredient in confidence: critical thinking. And I have to be honest with you, if you've been watching these, you already know it. It is by far my favorite ingredient. Because while grit gets you started and Moxie keeps you going, critical thinking, that's what keeps you awake in a world that is constantly trying to put you to sleep. Now, I don't mean literally to sleep. I mean mentally, emotionally, and socially asleep. We are surrounded by noise, opinions, trends, and algorithms that they reward reaction, whether it's positive or negative, instead of reflection. But what I've learned and what I want to leave you with is that awareness is your greatest protection. That's right. So let's remember the recipe. Let's go back to PowHer Up recipe for confidence. You've got grit plus Moxie plus critical thinking equals confidence. Grit, it's going to give you that courage to face your fear. Moxie gives you the strength to keep going after failure, knowing that that's part of the recipe. You're going to fail. You need to get back up. But critical thinking, that's the sugar in the cookie dough. Without it, everything else might still look right, but it just doesn't taste right. And you can have all the courage and endurance in the world. But if you don't have awareness, if you're not questioning, observing, or understanding the world around you, confidence, it can easily become arrogance or even ignorance. And we've got enough of both of those floating around right now. Matter of fact, we've got way too much of both of those floating around right now. So why does critical thinking matter more than ever now? Well, the world rewards quick reactions. Remember the likes, the clicks, the comments, the outrage. But what it really needs are thinkers. People who slow down long enough to ask, why is this being said? Who benefits from me believing this? What do I actually think? Not, what am I told to think? Critical thinking isn't about being skeptical of everything. It's about being curious, just curious enough. And that shift from judgment to curiosity, it's going to change how you see the world. It gives you power without the ego, and it gives you confidence without cruelty. So, how I showed it up this month. Actually the past 2 months. We have been talked about so many layers of awareness and critical thinking. Understanding that adults get it wrong too. Learning to trust, but to verify. And even the people you like. Seeing how awareness helps you become more of yourself and not less. And through all of it, the message stayed the same. Critical thinking isn't just for the classroom. It's a life skill. And it helps you choose friends wisely, spend money consciously, and protect your peace relentlessly. If it's what turns a girl who doubts herself into a woman who just trusts her own mind. So let me tell you something I've noticed lately. Everywhere you look, online, in politics, in marketing, someone is trying to get your attention. I'm even trying to get your attention now. And most of them don't actually want you to think. They want you to feel. Because emotion, it drives reaction, and reaction drives profit. But awareness changes that. When you think critically, you start to see the pattern. Who benefits from your distraction? Who benefits from your anger or your exhaustion? And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's why I say staying awake is a form of power. Your power. So what does it mean to stay awake? When I say stay awake, I'm not talking about being paranoid or cynical. I'm talking about being present. It's asking questions when something doesn't feel right. And you know when something doesn't feel right. It's noticing when your feed keeps showing you the same kind of story and realizing it's shaping how you think. It's recognizing that sometimes the loudest voices are the least informed. They're all patterns. And when you start to be aware and recognize them, it makes a difference. Staying awake means you don't let the world rock you back to sleep with comfort, convenience, or noise. You stay aware, kind, but you are by no means clueless. So the takeaway of all this, if there's one thing I hope you take away from the past 2 months, is this. Critical thinking isn't about being smarter. It's about being self-aware. It's about giving yourself permission to pause, to question, and to think for yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. Because that pause, that single breath before you react, repost, or believe, or respond, is where your power lives. That's the space between influence and independence. And that's where confidence grows. So stay awake, even when the world tells you to go back to sleep. Keep asking questions. Keep thinking for yourself. Because when you do, you're not just building confidence. You're building clarity. And clarity is where everything changes. So power her up. Think deeper, be braver, and stay awake.